What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of TAETRO Talks. I'm so happy to have you here. We're a little bit earlier again this week, but it's going to pay off. We have a great guest today. Real quick, before we jump too deep into it, I want to say hello to everybody in the Berlin audience at 343 Labs in Berlin at the open house tonight. I hope you all are having a lot of fun. Hopefully somebody can keep an eye on that Max Wild for me while you guys are over there. But welcome to 343 Labs Berlin. And for those of you who are watching at home, welcome. I see lots of you all in the chat, which I'm monitoring today. Let me just rattle off some names real quick. Delirium, A. Thorin, Yusuf, Gabu, Musician Vazu. My mom is in the chat. That's great. Alexander, Bueno, Steven, Princess Smith. What's up? Studio or Music. Good name. Adil Constantine, what's up? Stephen Mira, hello. There's so many names. I'm going to skip somebody and offend somebody. The Music Man Neil, what's up? Kipster G, and I'm sure I'm repeating at this point. Drillbit, hello. I'm so excited you all are here today. Tyra's in the chat. What's going on? Welcome back for all of you watching at home and watching at 343 Labs Berlin. Great guest, like I said today. We are brought to you by 343 Labs, which is a music production school. We are based in New York, Berlin, and online at 343labs.com. Virtual classes wherever you are in the world. Music production, Ableton Live, mixing and mastering, Logic, theory, composition, arrangement, all of that. Check out the website, 343labs.com. Like I said earlier, very, very excited for today's guest. Rachel K. Collier. I'm a huge fan. We've met a couple times and we're going to have a really great chat today. But for those of you who might not know, for those few of you who probably don't know who Rachel is, let's play a little clip of Rachel's performance. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rachel K. Collier to the show. Rachel, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, everybody. How's it going, Nick?
It's going well. I'm so excited to see you outside and in the world. Beautiful outdoor background. Outside, are you out there chilling?
Sunshine in Swansea here.
Nice.
I'm in my sister's lovely garden. It's like a mini Spain here. It's very nice. Yeah. And she's called Nikki as well. So shout out to Nikki. Beautiful. She can probably hear me.
That's so funny. So we just played the audience a clip of one of your live looping performances, and in the title of this stream, this episode, I called you the Ableton Live looping expert, music producer, performer. But I always like to start these interviews by asking you, how do you define yourself as an artist? What do you tell people you do, or how do you define yourself?
I just these days, well, I do say I'm an electronic producer and performer. Because it's funny, because obviously, like if you just say, oh, I'm an artist, it's like, oh, right, you could be anything, it could be folk, it could be whatever, jazz. But, my music's strictly electronic. Producer, because obviously I create it all, but also, I'm not just creating for myself these days. I produce for other projects and other people and things that are maybe not so on the forefront of my socials. So I think that covers that bit as well. And then obviously the performing aspect is, You know, there's nothing quite like taking your full produced record and then performing it in some cool, funky way with technology. So I feel like that's how I like to call myself, electronic producer and performer.
That's
So
great. I want
yeah.
to the electronic part I'm curious about because a lot of your music, it is I can liken it to a lot of more traditional singer-songwriter stuff, despite the fact that it does have all the electronic elements. Did you always start by doing electronic music and, controllerism looping kind of thing, or did you ever start with, a lot of people start with, piano and singing or guitar and singing. How did you get started writing and recording your own
I
music?
mean, like, yeah, weirdly, like the electronic thing, I think just comes because that I've always just loved dancier music, stuff with the groove. But I feel like I really started live looping, well, mainly, with tape actually. Like from where I'm from in Swansea, it's beautiful. It's like a seaside town, but my school was so outdated. It had nothing. It was like when we had to do compositions, you'd have to go to your teacher's house after school and stuff. It was
Wow.
really sort of, yeah, it was kind of, I don't know, just not the most equipped. So my dad had like a tape player. And I remember I figured out if I plugged this cable, I could plug my keyboard in, and just years of being a teenager and playing with my dad's tape player. And I still feel like it's all towards the electronic path, because I was like, I know I want to make music and I know there's way more to it than this. So that's when I was like, I'm just going to go and study music technology, because I want to make tracks and I don't want to do it with tapes because it's very limiting. And then obviously when I really got into like crafting performances and things like that, they actually laughed at me when I went to college because I sent in a tape, and they were like, nobody has ever sent in a tape. Obviously now it would be kind of trendy. People would be
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
dope, bro, you
You were
sent in a tape
ahead.
or whatever.
You were hip
Yeah,
before the
yeah.
hipsters.
Yeah, and then like I'd never seen a Mac, and they were all just like, "Whoa, this girl is like, what the hell?" So, but I was like, "Well, no, my school just didn't have anything, like." Um, but then I got into Ableton, and I started to kind of. I've got a funny story with Ableton, because the first time I used it, I just thought it was a looping program. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I opened it, session view, like had a little play around, and I used it for like a good 2 years and never hit the tab key. So I just thought it was this like looping
So you didn't
program.
even know arrangement view existed.
No clue, because obviously I was still really kind of a bit
Yeah.
new to it, so I just didn't have a clue. And like I didn't know about VSTs, synthesizers, nothing like that. All I knew was, oh, I can play a bit of piano, which I just self-taught from copying, and like I used to play like this, two fingers, like dunk, like really
Nice.
terrible. But then realizing that, oh, this finger and this one, oh, that makes a nice sound. That's kind of how
Yeah.
I learned how to play keys. And then with my voice, so I used to sit and I had like, just headphones just like this and laptop, internal mic, and you'd have my little click track, and I'd just be like, mm, and then
Humble beginnings.
I would pitch shift the what I sung down an octave. And so I used to like create these whole song arrangements in session view just with my voice.
Wow.
And then obviously I was like, oh. And then as the years went by, I was like, oh damn, I can add instruments to this. And then it wasn't for a while actually until and then I had this whole journey since college where I went down this massive top lining path. So I had like a real go in the like commercial industry. I actually had a song that ended up in the charts that I wrote and featured on. A track was a Grammy nominated album. I did all this like stuff but I was just a vocalist, and writing the melody and lyrics. And that's when I was like, I sort of got sidetracked by this kind of lifestyle, and I ended up going through a couple of different managers and things like that. And that's when I was like, oh no, this sucks. I was like, I want to be back doing all these bass parts, all the drum parts. I want
Yeah.
to do it. And then I sort of had to come back, eat a bit of sort of humble pie in a way, because it was like going from Radio 1 A-list back to being the crappiest producer I knew, and just being like, okay, I've just got to work my way up again.
You almost had
But
to reinvent yourself.
Oh my God, yeah. And I wish I changed my name, For a while, I wish I'd changed my name, but now it's cool because I think people have forgotten about all of that. So I don't know why I'm bringing it back up on this interview. But like, yeah, I had to like redefine myself. I didn't want to just be this top line vocalist. I wanted to be known as a music producer. And that's when I came back to Ableton then. And I remember being in a session and I was using Logic and some dude was like, hey, have you ever tried Ableton? I was like, oh man, I love Ableton. I remember being like, but I was like, no, it's only for like performing though, isn't it? They were like, what? And I was like, yeah, you just do the loops and like layer
You're
stuff
like,
up.
no, here's the tab button.
Yeah, literally hit the tab key and I was like, no way. And that was it then. I just couldn't believe it. It just changed my life. And so I always had this very confident, positive relationship forming. So
Yeah.
then it's almost like when I learned to produce these tracks, then my tracks, I just could not wait then to take actually good music and not crap little a cappella vocals that I pitch shifted out of tune with my laptop mic. Now I could take these real parts I created and perform live with it. So it's just something that I feel it's in my blood. That sounds so cheesy, but I don't know. It's just like, yeah, I feel like I'm born to do that. It's that nothing makes me get more excited, than like sitting there. And there's two ways of doing it. I obviously sometimes, as I've like created lots of different types of performances, I've realized that when you create a production and you then transform it back for live, it's actually quite a different process to when you create the track live on the spot. Like, yeah, there's like,
Yeah.
then there's obviously then not using electronic instruments. So there's all these like journeys I've been on and different types of like live performances I've figured out, but they're all as fun as each other. And then obviously I've worked on taking this live show onto the stage, which is another element.
For sure.
So I feel like you can do so much with Ableton and create all these cracking performances. And in front of the cameras, it's all good. You've got these cameras around you. You can see your fingers. It's like
you can do multiple takes.
Yeah, you could do multiple takes. You can get it wrong. And then as soon as you add the audience element, it's like, oh God, like this.
You got one shot.
Yeah, you got one shot. And it's like, and that's when I really learned, okay, how can I actually make this a great live show? So I've been on that journey as well. And been around the world then, like India, South by Southwest, like Europe, Czech Republic, like Paris, like taking my show, adding then musicians in and trying different combinations with my drummers. Should they be playing like Roland SBDX? Should they be playing my drum samples? Should I be triggering them? Just all these different combinations of performing. And it's just all super fun. And what I love about it being electronic as well, the options are just endless. So you can always be developing your live show. If someone's like, it's never like, I've nailed my live show, I've nailed it. Like, yeah,
obviously you can always add something to it or improve something.
You can always work on that transition. You can always, so it's just been, it's been a really, really fun journey. And I think, I definitely feel electronic in that respect, going back to the question, because I just couldn't do it without technology,
Right.
And Ableton basically. And and then obviously like even my sound as a producer that's not producing for myself is got the electronic edge, as synths.
For sure.
OP1, like, my System 8, my little refaces, there's just that kind of synthy, kind of retro. I'm more of like an analogy person, I think, with that sound as well. So it is obviously quite organic in some respects. Like the tune I've just produced actually it was actually quite a challenge because I couldn't do any of my crazy wacky automations. It was all quite subtle, but I still managed to
give you some limitations.
Yeah, it was. And it was like I double tracked the vocal for the artist and it was like no single track vocal, so it was really trying to find the balance. But I think we got there in the end, and the OP1's in there, like a couple of some cool little electronic samples, stuff like that. So that's kind of how I like to define myself. Like, mind you, I'm not saying that if someone said, hey, do you want to produce my acoustic guitar and whatever violin trio or something, I probably would say no, because it just wouldn't really excite me.
That's so interesting. It's interesting to hear your entry point because, for me, my entry point was, coming from traditional singer-songwriter world, electronic, and then wanting to produce those songs. So then falling in love with Ableton and seeing all the possibilities, like, oh, I can not only produce these songs, I can create sounds within here and actually create magic within the DAW itself. And that is a really amazing, 3,000-foot view of, your 30,000 foot view of your kind of journey and your entry into electronic music and who you are as an artist, I want to hone in on a couple of those aspects that you kind of like breezed over,
Yeah,
because I
that
think
was
it'd
quite
be
brief then.
it'll be interesting for the audience to hear for sure. One question I get a lot is about
Mm.
going to college for music and studying music,
Yeah,
and it sounds
yeah.
like you went a traditional kind of university route. Do you want to talk about that?
It was college. It was
College.
yeah, but it was like it was a BMUS, which is like a Bachelor of Music. And it was actually just like a music college,
Yep.
and it was a music degree, and there was a lot of us. It was kind of cool because there was like 80 or 90 people on it, and it split into like jazz, strings, opera. It was all
Yeah.
quite classical actually, and then there was this really small little technology department. But what was cool about it was it was because I looked at a few unis, and this one was very much creative technology. It wasn't like, yes, we learn how to like, set up, plug in an XLR, all that rubbish, but like
Right.
it was more you plug in the XLR, then you record that for your film score. It was all about our music,
Like actually creating
which
something, where a
it
lot
was
of programs
creating.
do one or the other. You have like the super
Yeah.
technical side, or you have like the composition side, and not many schools can blend the two that well.
Yeah, that's it. It was really focused on that. The other students on the degree didn't get it though. They were just like, "Oh, hi, do you do music tech?" And we were like, "Yeah." "Oh, will you record me?" And it's like, no." And it's like, "But that's why you're here, isn't it?" Like, it was just weird. It was some sort of disconnect between like music technology. I just thought we were just weird geeks, really. Which now you just think, well, who's laughing now? Not to sound like rude, but it's like
Yeah.
you can't
Well,
do
that's the
anything
thing.
without technology.
It really has transformed. I know, especially when I was in school, it was a very similar vibe, very small, had the classical, had the jazz, and then very
Mm,
small electronic music community of students there focusing on that. But at that point, it wasn't really, the idea of the home studio music producer. Like now you have
mm,
people like Billie Eilish and Phineas who are like producing number one
yeah,
records in their
yeah.
living room bedrooms, but that wasn't really that much of a thing back then. So there has been
No.
this transformation.
Definitely. Now it's trendy, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
15-year-olds like sort of doing it and stuff. So it's like, yeah, it's funny now actually, because there's a lot more like, the people in my class I know are doing actual jobs in music tech. Like most in my other friends, they're composing, like, and then the others sort of that we were friends with just are just a few steps behind. So I think it should be, yeah, it was an interesting course. It was like, I don't want to slag it off. It was cool. I studied with mainly girls, which was rare. The rest of the years were all like boys, but our year was a load of girls, which I think as well may have contributed to like my fearless attitude with technology. The
Right.
girls are the same, and like, so I've never felt that kind of. I've never cared really if I look like an idiot. If I don't know how to work something, it's just like, how do you do that? How do you? Because I always had the girls around me, whereas I've heard other girls sort of always feel like intimidated or whatever.
For sure.
I think that did make a difference. So that was really cool about it, because our teachers just used to say RTFM, read the effing manual. That
Yeah.
was like their response to everything. I still love a manual, to be fair, but um, yeah, it was an interesting course, but it was a lot of fun. But oh god, I hate to say this. I feel like, and this is what I want to say now to, oh god, phone's ringing, not the best timing. That's what I want to say to like up and coming musicians, because it's expensive as hell, and
Totally.
I obviously have not. I still have a huge outstanding student loan, right?
Same. Same.
Yeah, and
I
it
feel like not
sucks,
enough
and
people talk about that. Like,
yeah.
we can be here doing what we do, but we still have our student loans. Like that's still a real thing.
Oh my God, like I don't even want to think how much and I do think that now you don't have to go to school. You just don't. Like
Right.
you could just get stuck right in now. I used to not regret it, because obviously I met like my friends and I had a good life experience and all of that. You can't regret things in life, but I do remember thinking I could have just skipped this whole chapter and been here a few years
Yeah.
earlier,
I,
especially because I did not learn how to produce until I was actually on the job, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Very similar experience. It is
Mm.
the thing. I like what you said about like not having regrets because, I went to school, but I feel like everything I'm applying and doing today had to be learned outside of school
Oh yeah.
or post school. But, I would have been on a different trajectory had I not got the degree. I wouldn't have gotten the, initial career I had out of college, which is when I started the channel, which is I learned a lot. I had great experience with that career. So it's just
Mm.
like you have to, no matter what experience you choose, you have to just kind of go with it
Go
and
with
say, this is
it.
what I've had, this is what I can do with it, regardless of, sure, if I had taken those 4 years that I spent in college and just done what I'm doing
Yeah.
now, I might be 4 years ahead of where I am, but I
Yeah.
would have
I
missed a
might be
lot in
like,
between.
and I used to think that a lot. I'd be like, oh man. So what I would say is to sort of up and come in is, if you can afford it, if you think like this is gonna, if you really want to go, if you really want to put, do that kind of path with music production, like go for it. But if it's gonna be tight, if it's gonna be hard, I would say you don't need to at all. There's all these flipping online courses now,
Totally.
$200, $100. Like there's huge
YouTube.com.
youtube.com. Like I really feel like you can, and obviously with social media now, you have, that's your business card. You can just start, you can go for it now,
Absolutely.
So I'd say like, yeah, it's a tough one. And like, I definitely, for me, more at college, I kind of found my voice a little bit more there as well, because beforehand I'd just been kind of playing songs on my, two finger playing piano notes and
Yeah.
with the tapes. But I remember some of the jazzers then ended up, oh, hey, Rach, your voice sounds cool. Do you want to do a few? And I got a bit more into singing, and I guess I kind of learned how to perform more. And so it's more about trying things as well, isn't it? Then you realize, actually, that's kind of not for me, or,
Yeah.
So, because that's just as important, isn't it, as
Realizing what's not for
actually,
you rather than what's for you.
yeah,
Yeah.
'cause that helps you then to decide, okay, because you might keep dreaming. Because actually, there's one thing I'm not really going to go into it right now, but there's one thing I was
Hmm.
like, oh, I would love to do that. I really, like in my career, I want to do it. And I actually had the opportunity to do it not that long ago. And you know what? It sucked, and I really didn't enjoy it. And I just thought, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. But
Yeah.
until that point, I didn't know that.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, and especially being a part
yeah.
of a music school community, you see all the other people around you, all the other music majors studying and doing their thing, and you realize really quick, oh, I'm kind of like this dude, but I'm definitely not like them. I don't like that, and I don't like that. Whether it's
Yeah.
the theory kids or the super techie kids, you realize where you fit and all that. And I think that was a really formative experience, regardless of whether it was great time spent. I want to talk about when YouTube and social media and all that became a thing for you because that initial live looping performance, I'm not sure if it's the first, but it
Mm.
surpassed 2 million views.
I know,
That's
it's so funny.
insane. And that is
Oh
like
God.
that's like from 2015, which is again like going back
Yeah.
to talking about like what kind of electronic music community or landscape there was, especially on YouTube at the time. Like your videos were just popping up everywhere because you were one of the people that were really doing it with like all these controllers and looping and like really high quality stuff. I'm so curious about when that became a thing. Like, oh, let me make some videos and post them on YouTube.
Yeah, it was, well, kind of like what I was saying earlier. So it was like it was that initial feeling, like self-producing something for the first time, 2015. And I actually managed to sign that EP to a cool little indie electronica label called Love Another. They were great, actually. Again, that was like then when I started self-releasing, I was like, oh man, actually.
Yeah.
So there's that whole debate as well. But that was like coming off the back of my top line work. So I think it was easier to sort of people, I was still a bit known a little in the scene, and it was like, oh cool, Rachel K. Collier's got a record. So I produced that EP, and that was a feeling of, oh my God, right, I've got to do something cool with this now. I've got to perform it, right? And
Yeah.
I think the conversation came with my manager, and I said, hey, I want to play live. I want to play live. And I remember him saying, you don't have a live show. And I was like, yeah, but I can play live. I was like, I can do it with Ableton. He was like, well, do it then, because right now, why would anyone book you? And I was like, I remember being really annoyed because I was like, what do you mean?
It
Like,
was such a reality
uh,
check.
yeah, it was an absolute reality check. So I was like, okay, fine. I was like, okay, cool, cool. I get you. I get what you're saying. So I was like, all right, fine. So then I just thought I'm going to arrange my song and I'm going to make a performance with it. And then at the time, then it was like, still like, how do I apply for a gig? And I was like, okay, well, I'll have to put it online so people can, so we can show like potential agents and things like that. This is my live show. So it was as innocent and naive as that, really. There was no plan of a YouTube channel. It
That's
was
so
literally,
funny.
it was like, let's just put a performance online. It was very much
Like an
me,
audition tape for performance for
yeah,
gigs. Yeah.
yeah. And the person who filmed it was my flatmate, Danny. He's like super cool guy. Like, it's like, Danny, do us a fave. Can you film, and he's like, yeah, right, Rach, it was like, I'll film you. So it wasn't really like this big thought out thing. It was just like, this performance, let's film it. Before that, I put one up, which was just me playing a little cover of James Bay, and I had like a Novation SL, and I'd done a few MIDI mappings. And to be honest, it's not really live looping either. All I've done is I've the stems, and it's like I've done like a stem DJing performance where I've like looped stuff up. It's like a new arrangement of the track, and I play some chords and I play the bass and I sing. The vocal's not even running through Ableton, it's going straight into the Apollo. There's no live effects. It's actually kind of basic. So we posted it on YouTube, and yeah, it did nothing. It was there like 100 views, like a few months down the line, and then because obviously the algorithm was slightly different back then, wasn't it? Then I remember it had like 500 views 6 months later, and then it just started to pick up. Then I remember the feeling like my manager saying, "Hey, it's 1,000 views," and I was like, "No way!" And then it started to really pick up, and then it was like each week, then it was 2,000 to 3,000, then it
The
started going higher,
snowball
5,000,
effect.
6,000, and it just kept going, and we were like, "No, it's mad!" But that's all it was. It was just like this one video that kind of just ended up doing really well, and then subsequently led me to then meeting with Ableton, and well, actually not even me meeting with Ableton. I went to Amsterdam to meet Ableton on purpose because I wanted to show them this video, and I luckily found this sweet guy, and I showed it to him, and he was like really nice Dutch guy, and he's like, let me introduce you. And I could say, oh, I've got this video. And
Well, we might have lost Rachel for a moment. We're reconnecting. Folks, while we reconnect, I'm super stoked about everything Rachel's talking about, and I want to get into more of that story about meeting with Ableton and how she became so connected. Definitely off of gaining a lot of attention from her videos for sure. Real quick, let's take our quick station break, right, and talk about 343 Labs. So if you don't know, 343 Labs is an electronic music school in New York, Berlin, and online. No matter where you are in the world, you can take classes with our amazing instructors. And I'm going to go ahead and call her back. And those of you who don't know, you can take an Ableton course for all ages, all experience levels, and all ages too. Logic for all experience levels. We have mixing and mastering. What else do we got? Electronic composition and arranging actually just got added. I'm not sure if that's a Berlin exclusive course, but you have to check out the website to find that. A lot of really great instructors. We have Ableton Certified Trainers. I see dolltr over in the 343 Labs chat. dolltr, Ableton Certified Trainer, Apple Certified. I believe Bitwig Certified as well. So we have some really, really capable oh, and we're running a kids summer camp. Thank you for reminding me, dolltr. So we have a kids summer camp that's happening right now. So for all you teens out there, this is actually a really great opportunity for you all to take classes and take advantage of, especially if we're stuck at home. Virtual classes is a great way to capitalize on that time. Oh, I think we're reconnecting to Rachel. Let me see. Let me grab her. Hey, you're back. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to our interview now. You gave me an opportunity to do a station break, so that's fine.
oh, great. I don't know what the hell happened then. It just sort of froze.
It's okay. This
Where
is
did
what
I
we
finish
do.
off on?
We were actually, it was a perfect place because I have like follow-up questions that have to do with what you were about to talk about, which was So you have this video that's picking up lots of views. You're
Yeah,
starting to see this snowball effect gaining popularity. And
yeah,
now, of course, we all know you, not only from discovering you and your videos because of that snowball effect, but also because your connection to Ableton. So obviously you gained their
yeah,
attention, but where you were about to start was talking about how you actually were trying to set up this meeting, a sort of like networking opportunity, and actually get it in front of them and show it to them. So I'm curious to know,
yeah.
was it you kind of showing somebody something and then making a connection, or did they discover it on their own? I'm just curious about how a connection like that happens.
Yeah. So shall I say that after the break?
No, I already did the break. I took advantage of our time apart to do our break.
Oh, okay, cool. So we're not on the break anymore.
No.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So what happened was yeah, I was like, oh, I really want to show Ableton, blah blah blah. And like at the time, I don't know if the UK guys were, I don't know really. I just wasn't, I just thought I know there'll be an Amsterdam dance event because I'd been there before and I'd seen the Ableton stand and I even remember seeing Push and things like that. So I just went to Amsterdam. I persuaded my mate to come with me. I was like, come on, babes, there's loads of good raves. My mate Danielle, she was like, all right, I'm up for it. She was so cute actually because found the Ableton stand, started geeking out with a few people, and this is my mate who has no clue about music, was just there for the rave, so she was just nodding like, yeah, Max for life, yeah, great, like literally
Yeah.
not knowing anything. um and then yeah, and then I spoke to this guy, Jan. He was so cool, and I showed him the video, and he was just really nice. He took the time of day to talk to me, and he just gave me his email address, and then he said, just give me an email, send me the video through. And then I did, and then I heard back from him straight away, just like, hi Rachel, this is awesome, I'm going to hook you up with the boys in the UK. And then that was it then. And then I didn't really know what to expect, but then the guys in the UK got in touch and they said, hey, do you want to come down for a meeting? And I went to meet them. I was so excited, and they just said, "Oh, this is great. We love what you're doing. Do you want to come and join us at this, like a mini NAM show thing
Yeah.
in London? Do you want to come and do you want to do a performance for us?" And this is kind of where the live really started, because this is when it was no cameras. Now it was people,
Yeah.
and that's when I really kind of started to feel how it felt to play this stuff live, do live looping live, and go through these nerves. And then just from that, then obviously I like to talk about technology as well, like you, Nick. I have a passion with sharing, making sure other people, if they want to do it,
Yeah.
they can do it too.
Yeah.
So I loved this kind of thing, and they asked me to do more and more and more, and then the relationship just developed with those guys. And then I guess the next thing I did for those guys was the Ableton Live 10 campaign.
Right.
So it's just like an absolute dream. I just got this phone call, just like, hi Rachel. Because at the time then I was sending them a bit of music and just showing them what I'd been up to, and the guys in Berlin, and because I got connected to them through the UK, and they invited me to come over to Berlin for a week to try Live 10 and Alpha, a beta, create a track with it, which would be used for the Live 10 campaign. I was just sitting there like, is this actually happening to me?
Yeah.
What the hell? So all of a sudden I get flown to Berlin. It's just awesome. Just got to see Live 10 like months before it dropped, all the new features. Yeah, and then obviously, but I think, did Loop happen before that? Because I did Loop 2000 and whatever it was. I can't remember now. The dates all merge into one. But yeah, and that's kind of, and then the relationship's just been really good since then, I guess.
Yeah.
Most supportive company, you know, they're just amazing,
It's a
really.
beautiful
And
example of like modern, like just how this all happens, because it can all seem quite
mm,
mysterious because, some of it is kind of new. I mean, brand endorsements has always existed, but not so much like it does now, where, people are gaining attention online. And of course, your connection point was, actually getting out there and getting yourself in front of them, but then also having the backing of, hey, I have this video that's like people actually like, how you have that social proof of like people are into it. And it's such a beautiful example of that networking at play and building a relationship with a brand, because it does feel like a parallel universe sometimes. Like anytime, I get a call
mm,
about, oh, this new piece of equipment is coming out and we would love to send you one before it comes out and you get to try it. Like that's the ultimate dream, isn't it? Like we were just all at one
Mm-hmm.
point just musicians like excited about the new thing
Yeah.
when it came out, and now all of a sudden we're in this position where we're getting phone calls about things before they come out. It's like really this is
Yeah.
kind of the new music
Like
industry for us. It's such a weird. It's always a weird feeling, no matter how long I've been doing it.
it is mad. And it's like, but what you said, because I'm not really like a very good hustler. I'm actually I'm not shy, but I'm definitely not confident enough to go up to someone I know who's like maybe, bigger on YouTube or anything like that. I'm just not the most, but the fact that I had this video and had like, I think it had maybe 100,000 views. It wasn't even loads. But it is a lot now. See, this is how you change, don't you, over the years?
Yes, because now when you get a two
Yeah.
million viewed video, you're like,
Oh
ah,
God.
100,000's nothing.
Oh, but it is. It really is. And like, so obviously, and because I had this, it just gave me that bit of confidence to do it. Otherwise, I probably would have felt like a bit of a fool. What would I have been saying? Hi guys, I really love Ableton and I make stuff with it. Like, and you're one of, even though they really, as a company, are amazing and really do. I know they try to meet and connect, and that's why they have all the loop events. They love to see
Yeah,
who's using the software and how. Obviously that Made in Live series that's just gone up, that's just all
right,
about users of Ableton. That's just like, what do you do with it? Let's share it with everyone.
for sure.
They love that, so they want to get to know everybody. And yeah, they just really are genuinely just one of the most amazing brands I've ever worked with. and
That's great.
and yeah, it's funny. And like me
It's
and my patrons, we have like little chats and like they
yeah.
make little jokes. Like if someone chats about Bitwig or Logic, they're like, sorry, we know it's blasphemy in this group. And like, it's quite funny to
Yeah,
have like banter about it. But
absolutely.
you
I want to
know,
go down the route because you mentioned Patreon, and I want to talk about like how you interact with your audience and how you sort of built that up for yourself. But I also the example with Ableton is a great one. I guess I want to know about your thinking, or is it just your drive to not only be a performer but be a teacher? You touched on it before, but
mm,
I think we have similar drives in that way, where it's just not enough to do the thing. We also want to show people how to do the thing. Can you
yeah,
talk about like
yeah.
where that came from for you?
So it's funny because alongside, obviously, I didn't just start off like with all that equipment. When I lived in London, I taught piano
Hmm.
to like young kids, which I only actually stopped last year. So like I did that the whole time. I love teaching music and sharing again, like look how cool this is, da da da. And then I was getting into technology, and I ended up then with my showing the kids if they'd come round and say if we got stuck on some piano, I'd be like, come on, let me show you something cool.
Yeah, something
So I
flashy.
started, yeah, I'm like, oh, look at this, like, and then I would incorporate like this finger drumming and stuff into like teaching piano, like really blurring all the boundaries for any of the parents that wanted their traditional piano route. It was like,
Yep,
but then in the end, it was cool because I just wanted the kids to be able to relate to music that they hear on the radio. I wanted to show
totally.
them. So I just have a joy in seeing other people like buzz from the things I buzz from. And yeah, and then like I started like just sharing the odd tricks or whatever on social media, and it's just so nice when people just say, oh, you inspire me. And it just really made me realize, like, if people uh feel like they're on the journey with me, then that's just really really cool. And I
Yeah,
say this with my patrons, I'm like, guys, we're all the same. We all just love music, we all like creating music. I'm not some flipping queen. I'm just maybe a few steps ahead, and I've probably got stuff wrong a few more times and embarrassed myself in front of audiences, so I can tell you guys not what to do.
yeah, totally.
um
Do you think that that community
and
development has played into your success? Like, is that a main avenue for you in just interacting with the community? Of course, you have the Patreon. I would love to hear more about how
mm,
you incorporate that and build a community there. But is that always a core part of you, is developing that community and connecting with people?
yeah, I definitely love to connect with people. Like I released that documentary Life as an
Yeah.
Independent Artist, which is away from technology. It's more obviously I talk a little bit about it, like, but it's not about, hey, this is how you create
For
this.
sure.
It's like, this is how in the road. And I was a bit nervous putting that out because it's very honest. I talk about like how it feels self-releasing, how it feels, Spotify streams, numbers, figures. But I just felt like, hey, if it's just better to be honest. And like people always say, don't they, oh, how do you build your social platforms? And I just say, just be yourself and like just
Yeah,
be you, and like and let people in to what
for sure.
what you do. And you don't have to be like showing every second of your life. I don't really go past, it's just my music, my professional life, but I like to share some of my emotions and things like that, just so people don't feel alone, because that is one thing that on this journey I've been on for my career, when some of my friends like the Hanny girls, Mary Spender, like just some of my friends, even like Andrew Huang, like in the business, just having this like people you can talk to, I've just realized, oh my God, like to have people around you and be able to open up, and it just makes such a huge difference. So I just feel like if people feel like they're not alone in
Right.
things, then the world is just a nicer place.
And you come to
So
recognize the folks in your digital community too. Like I'm looking at the chat right now, like of course, and I recognize a lot of these names. A lot of these names show up to
yeah,
all the videos or to all the streams, and that's a really powerful thing. And
yeah. And I was going to
it,
say, so go on.
no, you go ahead.
I
You're the
was going to
guest.
say, like what you're saying, the community thing is great. Like people, the people that pop up more on that comment more, you do build relationships with these people. You
Totally.
do really appreciate it. Like I definitely, and then I see, when you have all these like industry talks and it's like, do your own PR, hit up people, send DMs, and you're like, no, you can't just do that. You need to
Yeah,
like build a relationship first, and you can do that by supporting, like DMs that come in. You can't be, if we were going to check every DM, that would be a full-time job,
for
But
sure.
people who
Yeah.
are reacting with you and chatting with you on a regular basis, you build a community with them, and it's really cool. But
And
anyway,
it's
I
a
don't know if
much
I've answered
slower
your question.
process. It's a much
Oh
slower
God,
process. I
yeah.
think that's what people don't understand. People are looking for the fast answer. That's why they look for the, spam DM a bunch of people and leave your comments on everybody's
Mm,
Instagram and tell people to check out your page. Like people are looking for that fast solution. And it
mm,
really, it may seem at first like, yeah, I can easily do this. I can easily DM all these people and easily comment on all these things. But it's a lot harder to, have these long lasting relationships with folks who are, in our chats every
mm.
day or in our comments every day and just kind of build that relationship. It's slow going. I just recently, we were talking about this before, but hit 90,000 subscribers, but I had
That's
a picture on my
incredible.
phone. I had just grabbed this photo off an old phone that I took of my computer screen when I hit 900 subscribers. So it
Oh
was
my
just this really
God.
great moment to put those two things together. And it's been like I don't know, it's been a process of
Yeah,
years,
of
and
course.
you have
Yeah.
to. I think all the artists, the young artists out there, especially, have to embrace this very slow process and trust the process.
Yeah, it's definitely like, yeah, you can obviously, whatever, go viral videos and all this, but
Yeah,
you can't be in it for that. You got to be in it because you love it, because the journey is rocky and you have to be able to sustain it, and you can't sustain something you don't love. Like,
right. It's
mine's
not
been
all candy and
rocky.
rainbows.
Oh my God, no. Like, because obviously my YouTube was building, I was hardly posting anything, and then the algorithm changed, and then it was like,
It's a
oh,
it's a nightmare, yeah. Especially when
and
you
then,
had such amazing success with like your initial videos, you get kind of
yeah,
locked into like, okay, this is what works, this is what I should do, and you get
yeah.
comfortable with that, and then everything changes, and you're like, well, now I don't know what to do, and now you got to
Yeah,
figure it out.
exactly. And I felt like that this time last year because I was just doing the odd performance. And my friend was like, she was like, oh, you should post more. Post once a week. And I was like, once a week? Are you kidding me? I can't do that. Because I've been posting these full on performances. And she's like, oh, your album's coming up. You should do it. Just post once a week, see what happens. And I did it, and it was really hard. Like
Yeah.
honestly, to December, I did it every single week. I did it without fail, um, on my own. As in like I was shooting and editing. Obviously, I had some help with some of the shots that aren't me. I was just trying to document like the summer. We did some cool videos, but it came to December, and I was like, wow, I can't do this. I just can't. I I don't enjoy it. I want to like, I enjoy posting, but to be basically, it was taking too much of my Ableton time. It's in
Yeah.
Premiere Pro. So now now I have to reset, and I'm like, okay, what do I love? I love sharing stuff. I love, being able to inspire people, whether that's with a performance, whether that's with whatever tutorial. And then this year I've been doing once a month, and that has been a lot better because I can focus on the video more, because obviously I'm doing stuff behind the scenes as well, other
Right.
producer work and stuff, which is, stuff that I wouldn't really, might not be directly connected to my brand. So
Well, I'm sure if we could get somebody
yeah,
to
it's
follow you
just
around with a
tough.
camera, it would be fun to watch.
Yeah, but I just have so much respect for like you, and like, because I don't think people know how it is hard work. You do have to really go all in. So you gotta love it. You gotta love it, otherwise you're doomed. And you see it now, don't you, with teenagers? Oh, I'm gonna be a YouTuber, and they do it for like 2 months, and they get like,
Exhausted.
10
Yeah,
subscribers, and they're like, oh, I quit.
yeah, but that's what it takes. It takes doing it for 2 months with 10 subscribers and having really deep relationships with those 10 subscribers, and then hopefully that builds to 20 in the next month, and then it'll
Yeah,
snowball like that.
yeah. But then if you love it and you're in it for the right reasons, it's cool.
Yeah,
Do you know
and the
what I
numbers
mean?
almost don't
It's
matter
like,
at a certain point. The numbers are gratifying, but if you're doing something you like, at
mhm.
a certain point, the numbers aren't driving you to do what you want to do.
That's it. And with the videos I'm posting now, obviously I'm just like, I love this. I'm so proud of it. If 10 people watch it, great.
Yeah,
It's kind of, it helps me to be a little bit more. Whereas before I'd say, I was like, oh, I need to try and get views, I was like, no, that's not the point of this. The point of this is for me to have fun and share my process.
right.
And so I basically just like took the pressure off myself a little bit,
Yeah,
because I was doing my album last year as well, and still doing this traditional thing and like PR and all that, which to be honest was just really intense and
for
hard.
sure.
So this year I was like, I'm going to chill out. I'm going to post once a month. I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to produce music and just go from there. And yeah, it's been really cool. So
Yeah. I wonder,
yeah.
I was gonna say, I wonder if that ties into your because you go pretty deep with your patrons on Patreon. And for those of you, I see a couple of you
Mm,
in chat, John Kozin, Greg, Vitaria. I really appreciate those super chats. If you were gonna do anything right now instead of super chatting, I would go to the link in the description of this video and just become a patron of Rachel. Like,
oh,
keep your
thank
super
you.
chats, go become a patron, because I think you do a lot of really deep stuff from what I see. And I wonder, is it? I don't want to say easier, but is it less pressure to do something for a Patreon community and keep a steady flow over there versus compete with the algorithm over on YouTube and like be more frequent? Is that kind of the thinking there?
It's not, now you say it, like, it's not like a conscious decision, but I don't know. It's definitely a bit easier to like. It's. I do go deep with my patrons. We do things. We have like little community challenges. I feel like I know quite a lot of them. We have these Telegram chats. Oh God, sorry, the next door dogs. They should shut up in a minute. Um, and it's funny actually the other day because I posted a video to them all, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna share this on YouTube later. I just need to tidy up a few things. It's not quite ready. And then one of them made a joke, like said something like, if they just said something, don't worry, we're not like the algorithm.
That's funny. Yeah, that's exactly hitting on the
Yeah.
point.
And you're like, yeah, I love you guys. Because someone asked me, oh, hi, Rachel, does it like, how do you decide what you post for us and what you post for YouTube? And I was like, well, actually, guys, I'm really kind of probably a bit more like relaxed with you guys because I don't have to,
Yeah.
think about the edit and how I have to like chop it so it makes and, sustains
So it gets
concentration. So
higher watch
just a little
time or view
bit.
duration. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, I don't really have to consider that. Whereas we do kind of have to consider that with YouTube because, as you know, and all the other YouTubers know, if your videos aren't liked, then the next video is not liked, and then it's just very goes downhill from there.
Yeah.
So we do have to sort of cater for that. But Patreon, I started mine 18 months ago, so it wasn't even that long ago. But that's what enabled me to be able to actually stop teaching piano. So
Wow.
that was amazing, and now it's just great there because like it's not just me always, because I post tutorials, like more in-depth
Yeah.
stuff, tutorials there, which over on YouTube, right, would just be so niche. Like I posted this one tutorial on YouTube before, it's really, really niche. It's like how you set up an in-ear monitor. You know, it hasn't had loads of views because it's very specific.
You have to Google that
And it's kind
specific
of,
thing to find it. It doesn't meet that mass
and
appeal.
it doesn't meet the mass appeal. Whereas the patrons, they might want to know this really in-depth stuff. So all this like super niche in-depth stuff and tutorials I can post over there. And then we've got like our chats and we can all talk about those videos and then the challenges and things like that. I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's cool. They probably know me a lot better than any other platform, if that makes sense.
For sure. That makes a lot of sense. And really quick, I just saw Max Wild typed in the chat, which means I think now Berlin Open House is watching. Hello, Berlin. Hello, 343 Labs Berlin. Welcome to 343 Labs. I hope you all are enjoying your open house. If you guys weren't watching before, somebody over there in Berlin, keep an eye on Max Wild. Somebody has to, because I'm not over there to do it. But hello, welcome. Thank you for tuning in.
Hi, Berlin.
Thanks for tuning in. We're running out of time here, Rachel, and I still have so much I want to talk about. We have talked a lot about, we've talked about a lot of big ideas,
Life.
some philosophy, like life and philosophy, that kind of thing. I think, we had a little bit of a conversation about the pandemic and gigs getting canceled, and we kind of continue that conversation. That conversation, I think, has been had. We all know it, but I do think that it's interesting, really quick, that as artists and digital content creators, we sort of were very well positioned for this moment. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because some of your working life was gigging, from that documentary. We see like touring and going out and playing. So do you want to talk a little bit about the effect of the pandemic on you as an artist, and maybe how you had to pivot, or how you were positioned to actually, you're still continuing to be successful despite the fact that you can't tour currently?
Yeah, it was really scary. Like I had I had quite a few cool shows booked in. I had a lot of international stuff. I think I had like 6 flights sort of every other weekend booked, workshops, masterclasses. I was going to Madrid, Berlin. And yeah, so initially I was just like, oh my God, this is horrible. And then it was like we decided, actually, I left London, I left the city, went out to the countryside, took not even all my studio with me, didn't even take my live laptop. And then I think it was just a couple of days and we started to notice a couple of emails coming in. And then all of a sudden it was like all the work I'd actually lost, I'd made up with new jobs that were online jobs, live streaming jobs. Like one of the first big ones was Loop at Home. So Ableton got in touch a week before that. And I was like, guys, I've never used OBS. I've never done. And actually, where I'd set my studio up was
intense.
Yeah, it was in a garden, right? So I didn't even have the internet in there. So all of a sudden, I'm ordering like 100-meter Ethernet cables and like testing out connections.
Running across the house.
Oh yeah, like huge cables. But yeah, it was mad. It was amazing. And then just obviously like because I had the platform was already kind of there. I was already putting out educational content, sharing ideas, and I think that's probably why I got hit up by Ableton to do the Loop at Home. And yeah, actually, it's really, really, and I think a lot of my friends, like us, it made me think about actually how I will continue to use my energy going forward.
Sure.
Because actually, I was doing a lot of stuff out and about, which maybe shouldn't, maybe I'm not going to do so much of that going forward, like.
And who even knows when it'll be possible
again. Yeah.
The world has changed now. It's not just changed for the moment, it's kind of changed going forward.
Yeah. So it was, like, touch wood, I was fortunate enough to kind of cover myself a little bit. It has got a little bit quieter, actually. It did quieten down then, but that's when I basically decided to team up with Mary Spender and work on this Ableton How to Produce and Perform a Track course. So we're hoping to drop that.
Very exciting.
In August. Yeah, so it's literally me teaching her how to use it, and it's been so much fun. We've still got a few more bits to shoot, actually. I want to shoot some bonus scenes. Like my live setup. I mean, I'm really giving you the inside here. I don't even know if I'm meant to talk about it. But
we're all looking forward to it, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I'm excited to do that because obviously I get my Patreon content. Some of it's actually quite, and I've got a lot of them, who are beginners, and that's kind of what inspired me. I was like, damn, I just need to shoot like a load of beginner videos. And then it was like, with all the DMs I get about questions about technology. oh, do you know what? It would be great if I could do this, because I could just be like, hey guys, hopefully I'll answer all your questions in this.
In this,
You know, we're
yeah.
going to do it really reasonable. It's going to be so much content there. So that's
Yeah.
what I've had my head stuck in. And yeah, and because I've been staying in the countryside, the space, it's actually like a posh shed where I've been staying. I've made it look really cool. And the
Nice.
light has been way better than my London studio. And like, yeah, so it's been good. It's been good. I definitely have started to get a bit of itchy feet now, though. I'm a bit like, oh, I kind of miss the
Yeah.
festivals. Like last summer, we were playing loads of festivals, and I've got Ree and Vicky, my percussionists on stage. You know, they have their click track coming from Ableton, and oh god, yeah, we have this big live show with lights, DMX lights, and our visuals, and so we've just been doing a fest. And then I started to be a bit like, oh, it would be cool actually in the sun now to play a
Yes,
show,
now that
but
it's the season, we're really feeling it. The air,
yeah,
it smells like festival season air, that kind of thing.
yeah, it's that kind of like, oh damn, but I'm, you know, now I'm trying to flip in buy a studio and build a studio. So now I'm into a whole new other project. And I actually was gonna do a little beat tape, because I did a beat tape for the
Amazing.
YouTube board library,
Yes, yes.
which I absolutely loved doing that. It was so much fun. It was just like no vocals. It was just like literally just beats. And I was like, all year I've been like, I'm going to do my own beat tape. I'm going to do my own beat tape. And I've got a couple down. But I've just got so much other stuff going on right now. It hasn't flowed exactly as I wanted. So, but now I'm just like, oh, do you know, just take the pressure off myself
Yeah.
a minute, and I'm going to deal with one thing at a time. And then, yeah. So that's kind of where my head's at.
It's
But
very easy
definitely,
to get like overexcited about projects and things,
oh,
and just say and try to do it all at once. Be like, all right, hold on, let's focus on one thing at a time.
yeah, because you think you always try to be like, I feel like we all are quite ambitious, I feel,
Yeah. You have to
you
be
know.
in this business, that's for sure. In our
Yeah.
last couple minutes, I would be remiss because a lot of my audience, they love hearing about MIDI controllers and
I was
controllerism
gonna
and
say we haven't
gear
covered much gear, have we?
and nerdy stuff. But we can go in whatever direction you want. But what are some favorite pieces that you have right now? Tell us what you like tinkering with at the moment.
Oh, well, I only got my OP1. Do you know, I got my OP1 the morning that I left London before lockdown.
Wow,
So,
perfect timing.
like, literally, the, you know, Universal Courier arrived, and I was like, oh my God. And yeah, I've been obsessed with it. I just can't believe I was so late to the party. I actually played it for the first time at the NAMM show with my friend Billy. And he was like, Rich, you got to check it out. He's like, California. I have my
Yeah.
OPZ. And he had this and I was like, oh man, this thing. So I just had to get one of those. So I've been loving that. What else have I been around with a lot? Do you know, mainly that's the thing I can just think of off the top of my head right now. I've also got the new launch key, the
Yes.
Mark III launch key 25, which is actually great because I'm not the best with my MIDI controllers. I've got like my Prophet Rev 2 and my System 8 and my Push in front of me.
Hmm.
But I always then like want to kick myself because I like just want to play a couple of notes, and I've just got my
Yeah.
Push, which is fine. Sometimes I do just want the
You
keys.
want the keys.
Um,
Yep.
so I've got my launch key now, 25 Mark III in front of me, so that's cool. And I do love my the doorless stuff, which is the Rolands, the 707 and
Yep.
the 101. They're really cool, those little things.
Really
So
fun groove boxes. I tried one at
yeah,
NAM. Can you believe that we were seeing each other at NAM in a mass crowd like not that long ago? Almost, well, yeah, 6 months ago or
feels,
something.
yeah, I know, it's mad.
But those
Yeah.
groove boxes are amazing. It's like if somebody took a Novation Circuit, which a lot of my audience I know knows, and then the SP44 Roland, and then like kind of smashed them into a box together. Like they're really amazing.
I was always going to try one of those circuits, but I never got around to it. Um, but then I met Roland properly at the Toman Synth Reactor 2019, and then I met up with some of the guys from Roland, and then I ended up doing like the launch of the 707.
Right.
I don't know if you know the company My Volts. It's a super
Oh yeah, they
cool.
make the power
They make the power
supplies.
supply. So with the 707, it's wicked because I can power it with a power bank. I've basically got like, you know, obviously it has it's not like a computer, but it's complete doorless rig. I can plug the mic into
Yeah.
it, got the MIDI, I've got all the sounds in there. So I have brought that to Wales and a 58, but no interface. But you don't need one. So
Yeah,
so I'm gonna have a little jam with that. So they're really cool if I want to do like DAW stuff. They're pretty fun to
that's
play with.
great.
I'm trying to think of what else have I been getting into lately? Yeah, I've been like, yeah, I don't use like Splice or anything like that. But lately I've been considering it. I saw Bad Snacks did a video on it, and I was like, this is actually,
Yeah,
she's actually made me. I might use her code and like try it out.
there you go. Get your
Yeah,
2 months free.
yeah. I'm like, oh, this looks kind of interesting because lately I've been a bit more like, oh, I could do with a couple of new samples. And
It's you open up Pandora's box
do
because
you
then
like
you say, oh, I could use a couple new samples, and then it's like I could use like 1,000 more. Then you're
samples?
just downloading, and you
Oh,
forget what you've even downloaded. But
oh,
it is a good like I just need something else, and
yeah.
it's just easy to search and easy to find, and
Mm,
or just grab a piece of the sample for inspiration or something. You're just feeling blocked. You want to just start with the sample.
yeah.
It is that, but it is a bit of limitless, which I do enjoy having some limitations.
Yeah, definitely. It's been funny though, because even though I had the OP1, when I've been doing the Ableton course, we made it strictly only stock Ableton.
Nice.
So that was really cool because I actually made this whole track obviously on the course, which, didn't expect for it to come out how it came out, but I made this whole like indie pop track just with stock Ableton. So that like bonded me back with all the like wavetable sounds and like
Totally.
and MIDI again because I was like, oh wow, MIDI is actually really cool. So I had like that stock Ableton little vibe, then back to the OP1. So I feel like I'm just testing quite a few different things out at the moment,
Yeah,
actually.
you can't go
Um,
on tour, but you're touring the different
yeah,
workflows and styles.
honestly, and I'm even doing a course at the moment. I'm doing you guys probably know him. What's his name? A Beat Academy, Ill Factor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I met up, so I had a little catch up with him the other day, which is great. And then he does all these awesome courses. So I was like, do you know what? I'm going to learn about how to make, whatever. So yeah, I'm touring producer land right now.
There you go.
Um,
That's
but it's good.
amazing.
It's good to learn again because obviously, usually, and actually, it's really good because, like, usually I'm in this cycle of, rehearsing, touring, producing, rehearsing, touring. Because rehearsing, that's something that takes up so much time. We
Totally.
forget
Especially
about
with
that.
what you do.
Oh my God, yeah. Like, and because it's not even just the performance, it's the tech. You have to rehearse the tech, like which DI boxes are going to be
Yeah.
hot enough,
What are all the things that can possibly go wrong and how do we troubleshoot them?
redundancy rig, all of this kind of stuff. So actually, yeah, maybe I'm just exploring different kind of avenues. I was going to say something else then, but I forgot. But no, I'm really loving that OP1. I don't know if you got one, haven't you?
I don't have one. I have used, some people in the chat know Thomas from 343 Labs. I did a video where he just kind of walked me through. I don't have one, but it just
Oh,
becomes, I just love standalone devices that you can just
yeah,
sit with a single device. I love the simplicity of that. So I've just
it,
always been tempted, but
yeah.
sometimes I just can't justify another piece of gear.
I know. You're right though. There's something about the standalone gear. I think it's because it just frees you from sitting in that mouse position and
Yeah,
away from your desk. It's actually because sometimes, we spend a lot of time. I mean, I said, exporting stems. That takes absolutely hours. That's work, isn't it?
totally. Yeah.
So then if you're in this like really creative headspace, sometimes I don't want to sit at my desk.
Yeah, exactly. Like your
So
outdoor sessions, like out in the grass, like those are just really calming, and
yeah.
it's so nice to go out and have a nice balcony here in my apartment to just sit out there and see the world, but also like make some music, and I'm not sitting under the neon lights and all that.
Yeah, yeah, there's like a place for it, isn't it? Obviously,
For sure.
sometimes I love it. Get like really
It's a
dark and
meditation
moody.
almost.
Mm, I
For
think
sure.
so.
I think we're coming to the end of our time, and I don't want to keep you too long. I want you to be able to go relax in the
Oh, I
garden.
also don't want to keep chatting because I'm terrible. I can chat for
No,
days.
no, the chats here are like really, really enjoying it. They have a lot of encouragement, a lot of great things. And
Oh,
folks, if
thanks,
you're not
guys.
already, Rachel's channel is in the description. Go subscribe to her channel, as well as check out our Patreon because you can go into a deeper learning experience with her for sure. And also check out 343labs.com because that's who's
Yeah,
bringing us here today, making this possible. electronic music school. I love the point
Amazing.
you just made about, because especially for a lot of people who look at you as an artist, and people have this perception of, oh, this person's made it, this person is the expert. But I love your point about like always learning and always trying new things and exploring different sounds and exploring different workflows. I think that's really important. We can always, all of us, no matter where we are. Robert Babbage, who I interviewed last week or the week before, said, he's an advanced learner, like that, like he's a very advanced learner. So like we're always constantly learning, trying new things, and I think that's for all of us, no matter where we are. A lot of beginners, intermediate, some advanced in the audience, and that's really inspiring to hear.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think if you stop learning, it gets boring, doesn't it? I love being put
For
on my
sure.
toes, So my next challenge now is to get, firstly to flip and buy this place to build a studio, but I'm excited because I'm gonna set up because I've got like V drums, but I want to do some proper drum kit, and it's the first time I'm like, I need to start looking into drum mics. I haven't got an absolute clue, but I'm like, this is
Yeah,
the avenue I want to be exploring, in the future, kind of really getting this live room set up.
absolutely.
But
A
yeah,
lot to come.
a lot to come,
We're all very
hopefully,
excited.
touch wood, and for you, Nick, as well. It's really great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Hopefully one day soon, when everything is all safe, we'll be able to, meet up again,
Meet up,
not
real
virtually, in
life.
person.
Hopefully, maybe
Yes,
in Berlin or something. Maybe Ableton Loop
that
next year or something like that.
that would be great. Like
Yeah,
fingers crossed that the
fingers
world
crossed.
can get itself together. Thank you so
Oh,
much for taking the time and talking to me
yeah.
today and being on stream. Everybody's very inspired by your words.
Oh, thank you, everybody. And yeah, cool. So I guess, do I just hang up now? Is that how it works?
You can wave bye. Have a wave bye to the crowd. See you
Bye,
later. Thank you all
guys.
for
Thanks.
watching.